What's the best combination of amp and speaker? Well, there's a loaded question for you. Naveen in India wants to know. Hi, Paul. My question is, which will sound better between two options? Number one, high sensitivity speakers with a low power amplifier, or low sensitive speakers with a high power amplifier? Well, gosh, Naveen, that's a loaded question in itself. Well, let me think about that. I would have to say, in an effort to give a direct answer so that everybody that's so in a hurry, doesn't want to sit and listen, can just go away, the first one. I would always tend to take a high efficiency speaker and hook it up with a low power amplifier as opposed to the other way around, because in general my experience has been that high power amplifiers trying to drive low power or low efficiency speakers usually sounds kind of stiff and lacks in dynamic range, and there's a lot of compromises being made that are not friendly to my ears. That said, now you can all go away. Bye. You got your answer. Let's look at why. Sorry, I'm being flippant today and I shouldn't be. It just, people are funny. Not that I'm not. I'm about as odd a person as I've ever met. Okay. Speakers are always a compromise, and getting high efficiency out of a speaker is getting easier and easier, but it isn't easy. And typically things fall by the wayside, like bass. Very hard to have a high efficiency loudspeaker that has really good bass. You don't see it very often. And so typically, what designers do is they'll take a design that kind of falls off at the edges, right? So let's say that this is easy to attain from, which way are you looking? So low frequencies over here to high frequencies over here. So let's say this is 60 hertz and over here is 10 kilohertz, right? So in most designs, whether they be efficient or not, once we get a fairly flat response between our drivers for here and here, right? And we can do so in a fairly efficient manner. But as the extremes come out, where we go from 60 down to 50, 40, 30, 20, it's dropping off pretty quick. And so what we do is we can take this area here where we have fairly high sensitivity of the speaker and drop it down to where it kind of is flat from a much broader frequency range. Does that make sense? When we do that, what have we done? Well, we've made a fairly inefficient speaker, a low sensitivity speaker, but we got more extremes on the frequencies, which is what we had hoped for. And that's kind of why designers do that, because to design a 96 dB sensitive or efficient driver that goes down to 20 hertz, that's ridiculously hard. You've got to have big woofers. Anyway, it's really tough to do. The ideal situation. So now I've answered his question. The ideal situation is to have an efficient loudspeaker that has good efficiency, 92, 93 dB, not this 99 or 100 where we may be sacrificing a lot, but let's keep it down in the upper 90s. That's still fairly efficient. And then a big monster amp, right? So an amplifier that hasn't been compromised, that can give you 500, 600 watts. Why? Headroom. Headroom. We want effortless sound. So if we have speakers that are relatively easy to drive, and we have an amplifier that can make gobs of power, and we run that amplifier within its linear range where it's just loafing along, we'll get spectacular sound out of it. And that's really what we'd like to do, given that we can do whatever we'd like to do, which I always go for. And it's why we made our stellar monoblocks, 700 watts each. That's why. You don't need 700 watts. You do need headroom. You do need amps loafing and in their linear region. And that's what you get when you have a big, powerful amplifier hooked up to a reasonably efficient speaker. That's my vote. Okay. Thanks for the question. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.